Welcome back to the Tea with JB. I hope you are excited for another mushroom and Celsius fueled episode because that's basically what I'm running on right now because I have just had back to back weekends that have depleted my dopamine. I don't know what it is about getting older. People say,
oh, your hangovers get so much worse when you're older. Just you wait, your hangovers are...
Why does everyone have to put like the doom of gloom over getting older? Can you just let me get older in peace and let me figure out how my hangovers are going to be? Because I actually feel my hangovers physically have gotten better because my friends can attest to you. I was such a nightmare with my hangovers in my 20s and my very early 30s. I just, every single time I was puking or just like dry heaving into a toilet, not able to puke. It was honestly so awful. Now I don't think I've puked. Now I'm getting like a little nauseous. I don't do that anymore. But I will say the mental effects of a hangover are far, far worse because 24-year-old Jade could go out and regularly puke in a bar bathroom and rally. I just have like a sensitive little tummy. Okay. I've always have. And then I would, keep doing shots, go home, order a pizza, dunk it in ranch. I would be completely fine the next day. I would have that ranch for breakfast, that ranch filled pizza for breakfast. And I wouldn't even think about it. I would just go along with my day, just charging forward. Now I'm like, who hates me? What weird shit did I say? Did I look at someone the wrong way? Is that one thing I said going to be taken like the wrong way? I just like overanalyze everything, which is not really me as a Scorpio rising and an Aries moon. It's just like really not my vibe. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been. Because if you don't, I don't know if I already said this, my brain is like not working. The older I get, the harder it is to like connect the dots up here. But October is like a crazy month in Austin. Okay. We have back-to-back ACL weekends. Then it is F1, which is, this like bougie, like international race that takes place randomly here in Austin. And that same weekend was the Georgia-Texas game. And so it was like a huge deal. I actually don't know why it was a huge deal. I really have no idea. Georgia's number 5 in the nation. Texas was number 1. So there was just a lot going on. And now it's Halloween weekend and I'm done. I'm done. You can't get me out of the house. Halloween is my favorite holiday and Austin has ruined it for me because there's too much shit back to back to back. Maybe in a couple years I will participate in Halloween again, but not now. But we had so much fun at ACL. We saw Chapel Roan. So Sunday we decided, Sunday's going to be for the girls. And we let Mr. Roberts come with us because he's the best. And so we said, we're just going to have like a girly night at Chapel Roan, get out of ACL early. And we just got a wild hair up our asses and decided to karaoke. We were inspired by Chapel. She honestly is such a good performer. And this was her last show of 2024. She needed a break. And so after that, we went to Ego's, this place in Austin where you can karaoke. But my problem with karaoke bars, and I'm coming at this as a karaoke expert. My family is obsessed with karaoke. If you know, if you've been to our house at any point, there's somebody singing karaoke. And it's like not even like in a fun, campy way. It's like in a taking it a little too seriously way. We have like 3 karaoke setups at my parents' house. My sisters have a karaoke setup at their house. We call that the satellite setup. And my problem with these karaoke bars is that people go there to karaoke in a very serious way. They're not going to karaoke to have fun. They're going to karaoke to like test out some material. It's like open mic night for them. And they're not picking songs with the audience in mind. And a really good karaoke song, you think about the audience because you need the audience to have a good experience because if they're having fun, then you're having fun. It's like, I don't know how I'm getting here, but it's like weddings when people don't allow people to have plus ones. I don't want somebody that I don't know at my wedding. Okay, well, you don't want your friend to have fun because I guarantee you if your friend is single and doesn't know anyone at this fucking wedding, it's going to make her time, his or her time, that much better if you just let them bring someone to your wedding. And what is the stranger going to do? I don't understand. Okay, let's pause that rant. Let's end the karaoke rant. So I like a karaoke song that gets the crowd involved. So we started it off with Goodbye Earl by the Dixie Chicks. It's a very interactive song. Lots of people know it. You can kind of like get people involved. Goodbye Earl, those black-eyed peas. Like, it's just like, it's a fun song to sing. It's fun for people to watch. You don't have to be good to sing it. I also, my karaoke song of choice, it's a risk, but you have to have a certain amount of showmanship, which I think I have. Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. You ought to know. See, I told you. I know what I'm doing. There is what's my other one? Oh, Love Shack. Love Shack by the B-52s always lands, especially when me and my sisters do it. But okay, let's pause. Did we land the plane with the karaoke? You guys know what I mean, right? Let's move on to wedding guests. I was not planning to talk about this, but this is just something that is like a very polarizing opinion that people are like, well, you don't understand because you're not married. Bitch, I was married. So I do understand. The whole conversation around people not giving people +1s at weddings because they don't want to meet a stranger at their wedding. I'm sorry, what is it going to do to you if you see a stranger at your wedding? And it's not going to be a stranger because it's somebody that your very close friend knows very well enough to bring to a wedding. Most normal people don't bring randoms to weddings, first of all. A wedding is a celebration, okay? And in order to have a celebration properly, you need people to be having a good time. And if your guest is feeling lonely or so like singled out, them having a buffer to be there to help like buoy their night, that's only going to raise the vibes of your wedding. It's not going to bring it down. I've never been to a wedding where a +1 ruins the wedding. Literally ever. If anything, it's like, oh, this person was like added to the moment or they just didn't even exist. I've never seen them like truly bring it down because you have to give your guests the benefit of the doubt. And I think it's also insulting to your guests to just assume they're going to bring some like random fucking party crasher who's going to like ruin your wedding. And I have like a little bit of, I guess, like perspective on it because, you know, I got married when I had just turned 28. I got divorced just when I turned 30. Literally the week after I turned 30, bitch, I got divorced. And so it was like the very first time I was single because I was in a relationship from the time I was like 24 to 30. And in that time, I had never been to a wedding by myself because I'd been to weddings by myself without my partner, but I had always like not been single, you know? And this was my first time like being solo. It was my first time being single in like this modern era. Like the last time I was single, we didn't even have dating apps. I didn't even have an iPhone. So I was going through this whole situation through new eyes and being 30 to boot. And so I remember I got invited to this wedding and they decided that they were going to give me a +1. And I was like, okay, but like it wasn't in the invite yet. They were just like telling me like, oh, you're going to have a +1. It was a wedding that was a travel wedding. So I was like, oh, cool. Like maybe I'll bring a friend or maybe like a guy if like at the time, you know, who knows what can happen in a few months. Like maybe I'll be seeing someone, whatever. Then they kind of recalibrated some numbers and my +1 got taken away. And I was like, well, I'm not going to this wedding then. Like it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. They ended up having the wedding locally and it was all of my friends. Like my best friend was at this wedding. And I felt so fucking lonely. Like, and I'm like trying to dance. I'm like, you know what? You're a tough bitch. You just went through some of the hardest shit of your life. Like you can have fun at this wedding. And I have never felt more lonely. I was literally one of the only single people there. And I think like a +1 would have made my night do a whole 180. And honestly, I don't even think anyone would notice because you don't really even spend that much time with the bride and groom anyways. So anyways, I love how I just went on a rant. That's the tea on that. Another thing I have just been seeing lately, and I was out to dinner the other night and we were talking about this, and I just have beef with influencer houses. And now I know this is as a girly who is throwing a rock in a glass house. I don't consider myself an influencer, and I'm mainly talking about influencers who are making like I can buy a house money. You know what I mean? Those kind of influencers. The way they subject us to decorating their house is honestly torturous. It is unfair. I didn't ask for this. I just wanted I wanted your cute little fashion, your cute little makeups. I don't want to see you figure out how to decorate the house that you bought for $2 million. I don't want to see it. I want you to get some help. You can't be an expert in everything, okay? It like honestly, it pains my soul. And I know there's some deep-seated jealousy in there. I want to be able to buy a $2 million house. Imagine I come home one day to Mr. Roberts. Guess what, honey? I'm buying us a house. Like that would be so amazing. But if I have enough money to buy a house, I'm also going to have enough money to like have it like an interior design consultant come in. They don't have to do everything, but it's like run some things past them. Like, hey, does this look good here? Does this look good there? There's this person that is online and they have this huge house and it looks like they are decorating for an apartment. And I am begging. And it's like, I don't want to be I would never, ever. And if you're this person, you're a fucking loser. I would never DM someone and be like, that's ugly. You need to hire a decorator. I would never. But you know what I am going to do? I'm going to screenshot it, send it to my very close friend and just be like, oh my God, I wish you would hire a decorator. And what my opinion is of that person is none of their business. But my opinion is their house is hideous and they desperately need help. Desperate. Oh, I feel like I'm like getting my personality back after a few low weeks, you know? I just like love a rant. The people that I vibe out with the most is where I can just rant about something so stupid like wedding guests stuff or influencers having ugly ass houses. And like they get that it's not coming from a bad place. It's just coming from like verbal processing. Like I just need to process it outwardly. And then it's not like I stew on it. People are like, it's really not that deep. Like you really need, just don't think about it. Don't get yourself worried. It's no trouble to me. It's absolutely no trouble to me to have these thoughts and opinions on people because the second it leaves my mouth, it's out of my brain. I'm already on to the next thing. Do you know how neurodivergent I am? Okay, so Saturday, I went to the big Texas versus Georgia game, honey. And unfortunately, spoiler alert, Texas lost. It was kind of like very unexpected that they lost, but I get to the game. This is probably like my 5th UT game overall because my youngest sister went to UT, hook 'em. And, you know, I really appreciate the things that I appreciate about the University of Texas is their commitment to the brand. It's all about cowboys. The girls wear their little cowgirl dancer outfits. The boys wear chaps. You know, everyone's wearing a cowboy hat and their boots. Everyone is dressed up. Whereas like, you know, I come from a Big Ten school. We dress for comfort. They dress for like, I don't know who they're dressing for. They're dressing for each other at these like Southern schools. But I have to say, you know, I really liked when all these Texas schools were in the Big 12. It just felt like it fit more. You know, we got University of Texas, we got A&M, we got Texas Tech, we got Oklahoma. And now all these schools are dropping one by one to jump ship into the fucking SEC. When I was in college, every conference kind of like was regional. Like the Big Ten was mostly the Midwest. The Big 12 was kind of like, you know, that middle of the country. SEC, we kept them down there in the deep South. You know, they got their own thing going on down there. And then we had like the Pacific one that no one really cares about. Everyone was kind of like in their places. Now, USC, I just learned is in the Big Ten. Does USC give Big Ten at all? I'm sorry, they don't. Fight on. Nothing against USC, but they're just not giving Big Ten. Like USC and Purdue are in the same thing. That doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, so we go to this game and it's like, I don't know what it is about me. I think it's because I played like I was a cheerleader. I was in a sorority. I just like love like a culty vibe. I don't like this about myself. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying culty vibes are kind of my thing. So I'm like becoming indoctrinated when I'm like at this game. I'm like, okay, I'm down with like the hook 'em thing. I love everyone's outfits. I love the accents. I love like the old white people that are like, this is the highlight of their month, probably their year, just going to this fucking game. It's like a pro game to them. But the thing I don't like, the thing I cannot get behind is like, why do all of these Southern schools, they will take a docile little animal like a longhorn, and they try to turn it into this like bloodthirsty mascot. Like at every time that Georgia did something like bad, or we like, got a yard on Georgia, I don't know the fucking terms. They would like have Bevo coming onto the screen and like tearing his little horns through the Georgia mascot. And it's like, if you've ever seen Longhorns just don't do that. Longhorns are very docile. They're very slow. They're just like, cattle. They just move very slowly. They're not like a bronco or something. Like, you know what I mean? And then same thing with Georgia though. Georgia's mascot is a bulldog. Bulldogs are not ferocious animals, okay? Bulldogs, they like to lay, they like to snort, they like to fart. They're just cute little cuddle bugs. They're not ferocious like doggies, They're not like the Georgia pit bulls. They're the Georgia Bulldogs. And that's just something about Southern schools that I don't get. Like Alabama and the elephant. Elephants are, yeah, I guess they're like, they could be like dangerous in the wild. But like elephants are just like sweet, gentle. It'd be like having a dolphin there you go. Florida. Okay, so let's get into some actual tea, since this is the tea with Jade B. Okay, so first things first, this should just come out. The former Abercrombie CEO has just been charged with some bad charges. bad charges. He was indicted on sex trafficking charges. So, okay, I went back and I was like, okay, is this the current Abercrombie CEO, or like what's the deal here? So this is Mike Jefferies. He is an American businessman who is chairman and CEO of clothing retailer Abercrombie & Fitch from 1992 to 2014. During Jefferies' tenure, he engineered a turnaround of Abercrombie & Fitch from a fashion backwater, losing $25 million a year, to a lifestyle brand grossing $2 billion yearly by 2006. So basically, Mike Jefferies is not the one that is responsible for the most recent turnaround of Abercrombie. He is responsible for the turnaround of Abercrombie that kind of fucked us all up in the early 2000s. If you are a millennial from the early 2000s, then you just know Abercrombie was so different than it is now. Abercrombie now is like an inclusive place where you can buy jeans. The jeans are really amazing. They're super comfortable. They have really great fitting tops. It's like kind of like super basics now, whereas back then it was a factory built to just make us all feel like shit about ourselves. Literally, the people who were working there were all so hot. They were so hot that they were called models. They were not like employees. They were called models, and everything was like 2 sizes too small. I will never forget the feeling of walking into Abercrombie and feeling poor and fat, okay? Because I was like, I'm a 5'3" girl, okay? I could barely squeeze my ass into a size 7 jean there. And I feel like a size 7 is like a bigger medium in the Abercrombie scale, because they didn't go by like normal sizes. I feel like they kind of had like their own sizing thing, but it was designed to make you feel like shit. And it was designed to make you feel like you always needed to be smaller. And I've talked about this last episode, but the millennials are just like beaten over the head with like, you need to be skinny. And Abercrombie was like the mecca of doing that to us. So you would walk into Abercrombie with a group of friends, and then they would single maybe like 1, 2, 3, maybe all your friends out except for you. And they'd be like, oh, have you ever thought about working here? Same with Hollister too. So this guy, Mike Jefferies, is basically just trash. Like, he is the one who engineered so much of our insecurities in high school, because it's not like we weren't getting it from every angle. Like, we're already in high school. We're already like vulnerable. We're seeing like all of our favorite stars that we grew up with just getting tinier and tinier and tinier. And then now we can't even fit into normal size clothes at our favorite store, because we could fit into clothes at every other store. Charlotte Russe, I could fit into a medium in Charlotte Russe, could barely fit into a medium in Hollister and Abercrombie. Thanks, Mike Jefferies. You're a piece of shit. Okay, here's another. Let's keep reading. After a string of poor results from the financial crisis of 2007 to 2008 onwards, plus criticism related to the brand he created, he stepped down in 2014. On top of his standard pension, Mike Jefferies received lifetime bonus payments totaling about $1 million a year. This guy's just collecting cash each year off of our backs, okay? So I'm not really sure who turned Abercrombie around in the more recent years, but whoever did that, I'm hoping like this is more of like a kosher thing. Like, it's better. It feels better to me. Like, when I shop at Abercrombie now, I feel good about it. Like, I don't feel that like anxiety that I used to have. I mean, also I'm like 20 years older, so that could also help. My frontal lobe is fully fucking formed. I've seen some shit. So me not fitting into jeans won't take me down quite the way it did when I was, 16. But I feel like Abercrombie now is much, much better. I love their jeans. So this guy, I truly don't know why men can't just be successful and be normal. Why is it like literal Lord of the Flies shit in the last like 8 years? We have Harvey Weinstein. We have Jeffrey Epstein. We have Diddy. We have Mike fucking Jefferies. We have a million other people in between. Like, and I'm not just saying it's just men, but there seems to be a lot of men who do a lot of bad things. And it feels like we gave Abercrombie this second chance, and this is how they fucking repaid us. Even though it's like not Abercrombie's fault. It's literally Mike Jefferies' fault. Like, we got to kind of separate the two, I think. As of right now, I think we need to separate the two. We'll see what comes out later. But there was this experiment that they did where they took a group of young boys and a group of young girls, and they put them in a house for, I think it was like a few days. And I think they gave them like a bunch of like tools to be able to live their life. And they just wanted to see what these kids would do with it. So the boys, there was a bunch of like art supplies and stuff, and there was cleaning supplies. The boys' house was a fucking mess. They were fighting each other. They were painting and like just ruining the house. They basically just like took over this house and didn't do much good with it. It just kind of became absolute Lord of the Flies chaos. But the girls, they came up with like a rule chart with each other. They cooked, they cleaned, they like gave each other like assignments. There was just much more order. And I mean, of course, these kids were like 10, so it wasn't a perfect experience for them, but they took care of each other. When people were upset, the other ones would like, console them instead of just bringing them down. And it was just so interesting to see. Like, I don't know if this is nature or nurture, like if this is just the way girls grow up, seeing that, we are the gender that typically cares for people like this, and then men are not taught that at a young age, or what it is. Like, are women just more innately more maternal from like are we more caring of others? Like, we feel like we have to take care of other people, or is that just what society places on us? It's a very interesting little experiment. Okay, so Martha Stewart has a documentary that is coming out, and I love the press around it. Okay, so there's a couple like big headlines that have been making their rounds. First of all, is why did Martha Stewart and Ina Garten, why did they fall out? Like their friendship fall out, which I didn't know that they were ever friends to begin with. I mean, that's so iconic. Can you imagine? But apparently they had some big falling out in the early 2000s when Martha went to jail. Why did Martha go to jail? Because she's not a rat. Remember that. Another headline that's going around surrounding this documentary is that in the documentary, she reveals that she had an affair that she has kept secret for over 30 years. And when asked if her ex saw her movie, she said they haven't spoken in 20 years. In the documentary, she says, young women, listen to my advice. If you're married and your husband starts to cheat on you, he's a piece of shit. Get out of that marriage. And then the producer says, didn't you have an affair early on? And she goes, yeah, but I don't think Andy ever knew about that. And that to me, I started thinking, I'm like, I just feel very connected to the way she just handled that. Like, I feel as though you know what? I'm not even going to elaborate. I just feel very connected to that. So I looked up, I was like, what is Martha Stewart's sign? What's her chart? Listen to this. This explains everything. Leo sun, Sagittarius moon, Scorpio rising. Okay. And then I looked up Ina's chart. Now we don't know what time Ina was born. However, we do know her sun and her moon. And Ina is an Aquarius sun and a Scorpio moon. So these two were meant to be friends and they were meant to explode into oblivion, because I don't know how a Scorpio rising could take somebody not supporting them after. It's like, it's Taylor Swift. It's very Taylor Swift coded. Like we notice, and I don't know if Taylor Swift is a Scorpio rising for sure. There's some speculation that she might be a Scorpio rising, which it kind of just checks out. Her chart would make so much sense if she is a Scorpio rising. But there is just something that like when somebody betrays me, like it could never get out of my head. Like it doesn't affect the relationship. Like I can move on easy peasy. It's good as gold, whatever. But like, I will never fucking forget what you did. And like, one of my earliest memories in this life is, it was my second birthday. And actually it might've been my third birthday. I was very young, no hair, very bald. And so it probably was my third birthday. And I have this gorgeous Little Mermaid cake. And I am like, it's my last birthday as an only child. So this is a huge birthday for me. It was like all the attention is on me. I have a ton of friends. They're all my parents' friends. They're singing me happy birthday. Me and my bald little head are just like smiling out into the crowd. And then right when I go to blow out my candles, my aunt pushes my bald little head into the cake. And I was humiliated. I would not stop talking about it for months, for years. Every time it was around my birthday, I'm like, you remember when that bitch fucking pushed my head into the cake? And that's on being a Scorpio rising. And it doesn't bother me. And again, people always say, oh, just let it go. Don't let it trouble you. It's truly no trouble. It does not affect me. And I remember everyone who's ever wronged me in my life. Mrs. Sturdivant, my kindergarten teacher. If you went to Cullen Elementary, you fucking know. She scared the shit out of me. She scared the piss out of me, I'll tell you that much. Because every single day, I hated her so much. And the way our bathroom situation was set up, there was no doors on the bathroom. So you had to have an adult come in and like take you potty. And I was like, that's embarrassing. I don't trust this bitch. I'm not going in there. So I'm not going potty at school ever. And I did not go potty except for one day. I probably had a little too much water. And I was a very smart little 5-year-old. I like knew not to drink water because I was like, I just need to get through these like 4 hours that I'm at kindergarten, the AM kindergarten, so I can just go home and pee in peace and quiet. And Mrs. Sturdivant scared me so much that one day I had to pee and I'm sitting on the carpet where we were doing story time and I'm just like sitting there cross-legged. I'm like, fuck, this is the day I have to pee. And everyone gets up to go to recess and I'm just sitting there because I'm like, if I get up, it's all coming out. And I remember one of my mom's friends, my mom knew everyone in the school. One of my mom's friends came up to me and she's like, Jade, are you okay? And I was like, And I just start peeing all over the rug out of spite. Even from a 5-year-old age, I will cut off my nose to spite my face. And that's what I did that day with Mrs. Sturdivant. And I'll never fucking forget that. You can just see, we have so many home videos and I'm just like I'm like side-eyeing her. I'm like, do not. I could go on and on and on about, you know what, maybe each week we'll do like, my Scorpio rising person that I've never forgotten. Like the person who told me to be quiet in the movie theater. I could go on and on. So that's what's going on with Martha. I'm excited to see her documentary. I love Martha and I love her and Snoop Dogg. So Snoop Dogg is a Libra, and Leos and Libras, they just have like a great dynamic as friends. Now, as lovers, I feel like there's trouble there because Libras are so balanced and Leos are not. So I feel like it could always end in chaos, but I digress. Speaking of ending in chaos, Bryan. Now, I don't know how I ended up on this side of TikTok, but there are some sick people in this world that act like they know what happened in other people's relationships, that they don't really know how it went down. People haven't really like spoken on the details of it, but the internet loves to be a fan and then just like shit on someone. So there's apparently like Bryan has 2 exes that the internet like loves. They don't like Bryan's most recent girlfriend for whatever reason. I'm not really on that side of TikTok, okay? So basically what has been happening, I mean, I know of his girlfriend, Brianna, because I see the BFFs clips and I like Dave. I think Dave is fun. He's like a fun follow, and I like how he's got Scorpio rising energy. He's got like more than Scorpio rising energy. He's got like an extreme sense of justice, which I like. But okay. So the internet has kind of put Bryan's exes on this pedestal, and they've just been waiting for the day that Bryan and his girlfriend broke up. And apparently they have been going through some like tension points. Like he tweeted that thing about Taylor Swift. And then, you know, Dave is such a big Taylor Swift fan that he made Brianna answer to it. He's like, why did your boyfriend tweet Kanye greater than Taylor? Like, why did he just throw that shot out of fucking nowhere? Like, what did Kanye or Taylor even say to him to even get him to make that a tweet or an X, whatever, to begin with? Like, it made no sense. And she kind of just said like they've been going through some hard times, whatever. And it feels like he has some sort of problem surrounding alcohol, because I think he was like drinking and tweeting, and that's never a good thing to do. And then most recently, people have been posting that Bryan is on Raya. Now, I think that is so fucking weird. Like, if you're on Raya and you're posting people that are on Raya, like, you don't deserve to be on Raya. Like, you need to like be cool. Don't be all uncool about it. And that's not to say like you can't tell your friends like, oh my God, can you believe Bryan's on Raya? Like, what the fuck? But like posting it onto the internet, like you have no one better to talk to about that. You have no one in your life that you can text and be like, oh my God, Bryan's on Raya. Like, and to be able to get that, because you can't screenshot Raya. Like, they ban you from, trust me, I've seen people on the app and you can't screenshot it. So they have to get a phone, they have to get some other recording device and post that shit onto the internet, which I feel like is just classic loser fucking behavior. And that is not to defend Bryan literally at all. That's just internet culture to begin with. Also, this isn't in defense of Brianna Chicken Fry. I'm just like, this is just, why are we saying these girls are good, this girl is bad, and like we're not even talking about the elephant in the room, and that's Bryan being like kind of a drunk, allegedly. And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, he's on Raya. Like, they just broke up in the last couple days and he's on Raya. People are seeing him on Raya. That's super messy. You're a star. How do you get to this point in your career where you are selling out stadiums and you are such a fucking dumbass to get on a public dating app. Like, go DM some girls. Be like a classic regular degular fuckboy. Why do you have to act so fucking stupid and put yourself in this position and put someone else in that position? And I don't know, people have their thoughts on her, whatever. I would just be so fucking livid. So this is making its rounds on the internet that Zach Bryan's on Raya. And then he tries to get ahead of it by making a statement where he says, me and Brianna have broken up, like blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And Brianna's like, I'm feeling a little blindsided right now. I'm going to take some time off the internet for a couple days. Well, that didn't last long because then she put out a YouTube video kind of explaining how she feels about it. And it just, it seems like a girl who has gone through a very whirlwind relationship with somebody who is very messy, and she's stuck by that person and has been super loyal to him, and this is how he fucking treats her. And so she's also so young. People being like, yeah, the way you get them is how you lose them. Well, we don't know how she got them. You're not their fucking friend. And also, she's so young, okay? Her frontal lobe hasn't even formed yet. She's not the problem. Like, why? I don't like how everyone's focusing on her. He's the fucking problem. Like, I would love to have that level of success where my biggest problem was my success, because it would be really easy for me to just not get on the fucking internet. It'd be easy for me to give my phone to somebody, not tweet out dumb shit about people who don't deserve it. I would just be sitting there focusing on keeping myself healthy. Who's the artist that doesn't drink? Oh, Jack Harlow. I love Jack Harlow's thoughts on drinking because he said, I've worked so hard to get to this place that I don't want to fuck it up with anything. So I'm not even going down the road of being like the rock star who drinks and whatever. And I really admire that, because that would be really hard to do when you have all the access in the world. Like, literally nothing is inaccessible to you, and you are making a stance to put your art and your career and your success above just drinking and partying. And I feel like, who knows, this is all alleged with Zach Bryan. I don't know. I mean, we have seen him, the DUI situation. Didn't he get a DUI? Okay, he's actually from Oklahoma. He did get a DUI. He is an Aries. Aries men. My dad's an Aries, which, my dad's an angel. My ex is an Aries, not an angel. And Brianna is a Gemini. Okay, I don't really know where I was going with this rant because I got distracted looking at Brianna Chicken Fry's fucking astrological chart. But anyways, Dave Portnoy wastes no time, and he tweets out that he's dedicating this to Brianna Chicken Fry, and it is a link to Taylor Swift's song The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. And I just think that's an amazing mic drop moment. I honestly was very shocked that Dave held back on the whole Taylor Swift tweet. That's because I don't know if I'm explained it, but Zach Bryan tweeted out Kanye greater than Taylor, Eagles greater than Chiefs. Like literally just a dumb, I hate to say it, but like a dumb country ignorant white guy's take. Like, it's so stupid, and I'm surprised that he took it so easy on him, but I don't think he's going to take it easy. I think he's going to give us like his real peace of mind. Okay, the last bit of tea, and this is just so hilarious. This is so American Airlines. So American Airlines is testing out new technology where you can't board or earlier than your boarding position. So when you go up there and they're saying boarding group 1 and you're boarding group 4 and you're trying to, beat the system, the thing will not let you go in, and you'll have to stand by the gate agent and just watch as everyone just shames you as they get on the plane because you can't follow fucking directions. And now I feel like Delta and United already do this. I feel like Delta for sure does it. Like, you cannot board Delta earlier than your boarding position. Now Southwest, where everyone is first class, you just have to like follow the rules, you know, where you get in line and you just follow the fucking rules. I personally don't mind Southwest boarding. I usually bring my dog when I'm flying Southwest, and it's amazing because I get to pre-board and I get to sit in the little, what's it called? The bulkhead seat. And because my dog is a service animal and he services me, and it's honestly none of your business why he services me. But I wanted to bring this up because I have had this gripe my entire life. I don't understand why they don't start the boarding in the back of the plane. Why are we boarding from the front of the plane back? So while everyone's trying to get situated, you have people trying to get past them to get right in back of them. And then the last people to board are the people in the back of the plane. You know do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the first in should be the back and the first out should be the front. And I feel like it would just be like a way smoother experience in that case. But what do I fucking know? Okay, I feel like this was like a very long and exciting episode, per usual. I would love if you guys would send this to one of your friends and say, oh my gosh, this episode is so good. You need to listen to it. Or grab your friends' phones, grab your parents' phones, grab your boyfriend's phone, grab your situationship phone, and just like play the podcast on repeat with the volume all the way down and subscribe to them. Also, you should grab your situationship friend, boyfriend, mom, dad, grandma, whatever. Follow me on Instagram. It's me, Jade B. I also made an Instagram for the podcast, and that's purely just to like, it's like a lead gen Instagram. So don't follow it, but you can mute that one. Because if you listen to the episode, you don't need the clicks. I'm just trying to get new listeners without, bombarding the It's Me, Jade B audience. Subscribe on YouTube, download, do all the things, and I will see you next week. I'm like getting sunken into this. Bye.